early August, early morning on August 12th. And my husband and I are going to go and see some sunflowers, not because he wanted to, but because I asked. August is my birthday month. And usually, as I've said many times, usually I grow sunflowers and I get to see my own personal sunflower blooms or just in time for my birthday. Around the week of my birthday, there's sunflower blooms in my garden. But this year I didn't do much gardening. I let nature just take its course, nature do its own thing. And as I've said, anybody who watched my videos, I said that this month, instead of growing sunflowers, I am going to be the sunflower. I am the sunflower. I am Letitia. I will be 43 in about 17, I think about 17 days. Yeah. Anyway, I don't have the math in my head right now, but I'm going to be 43 on the 20th of this month. And I am celebrating being alive. I'm celebrating getting this far in my motherhood adventure. You know, I'm celebrating life. I'm celebrating that I'm still here. I'm grateful. Life is good. We're blessed. You know, it's not perfect. There are a lot of uncertainties, and there've been uncertainties for a very long time. But I am celebrating favor and blessings. So thank you for listening. Hope you have a wonderful day. Hello, everybody. Peace and blessings to you. Good morning, good afternoon, good day. Hello to you. I hope that this video meets you well and that you are having a blessed day. I am Letitia. If you're meeting me for the first time, I'm a 42-year-old millennial, home managing, homeschooling mom of 5 children. I am an immigrant living in the U.S. I am an INFJ empath, an intuitive, a light worker, and a new earth beacon, new earth messenger. And when I say that, I just mean someone living in a new earth frequency. Even though we are, the times that we are living in, it feels as though fascism is coming back. Genocide is on the rise. There's more wars and rumors of wars, and it feels like the end times, and it feels like biblical prophecy coming to life, and it feels like we're living in, the end of times. And, it's scary, and we got all kind of horrible, awful shit going on in the world. But I'm experiencing, my experience in this world, my experience in this timeline is I'm experiencing being between the split, being in the middle of the split, on the spiritual end of the internet, right? There is discussion about the split. There is discussion about the ascension. There's discussion about the shift. There's discussion about, what we're experiencing right now. And I am a listener. I am a learner. I am an observer. And I am experiencing this time in my own way. The garbage truck is going to come. So you're going to hear the garbage truck in the background. And I'm experiencing this timeline in my own way. And then I am listening as other people discuss what this timeline is like for them, or discuss what this timeline is like in general. I listen to psychics, I listen to tarot readers, I listen to historians, I listen to intellectuals, I listen to geophysicists. Oh my gosh, I listen to many type of people. And I hear the language in which they speak, and they describe this moment, astrologers, and they describe this moment. And different discussions have different ideas, different concepts, different titles. I learn a lot of new things. I learn phrases and words that I never heard before. I learn about rituals and practices and different things that I've never thought of, And then I also have a mind of my own. I have a very, very, how to say it, working mind of my own. I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but I am a critical thinker. I listen and I take things with a grain of salt. I take how I receive information is by resonance. When it resonates with me. I am a deep thinker, and like I said, I'm an intuitive, and an INFJ, which as an INFJ is somebody you know, who sees connections and patterns and ways in which things connect, and we're very, very good at listening and collecting information and absorbing information, from around what we're listening to and what we're absorbing and observing from around us, the information we're collecting and then putting it together like pieces of a puzzle. Now, this puzzle that we are putting together right now, I feel like this has been a puzzle that we've been piecing together. I've been piecing together for many years, for about the last 8 to 10 years, I would say. That is when I started to pay attention to the world outside myself. That is when I had my spiritual awakening and I woke up to the world around me, and I started to pay attention to the world around me, and I started to try to learn more things and understand more things. So I feel like I've been piecing together this puzzle for 8 to 10 years, and I feel like I'm doing like like a 2,000 piece puzzle. The pieces are so small, and so it is such a very time consuming effort. It's a process. And at this point in time, I didn't expect 2025 to be like this. I didn't know what 2025 was going to be like, but I certainly did not expect it to be like this. To be honest, I just couldn't believe that this is what was going to happen, that we were really going to go through this dark night of the soul, I guess. I don't know. This dark tunnel, right? I was like, I could see if this is a choice that humanity made, if this was a course that we would take, if this was going to be allowed to happen, I could see how bad it was going to get, and how dark it was going to get, how difficult it would be for many people. And I couldn't fathom for the life of me how I was going to make it. I couldn't fathom. I was like, if this is what we're going to do, if this is really going to happen, how the hell am I going to get through it? I just didn't know. And when that moment, that shift happened, that moment that you knew that the direction that you hoped you were going in, when that moment at the crossroads, the choice, and it seemed like the collective chose the dark tunnel as opposed to, climbing the ladder, climbing in, moving into the light. It feel like the collective shifted to the dark tunnel, you know, and there was nothing I could do. That was the direction that the collective was going, and that was the timeline that I was going to be dragged into. You know, when I realized that, when that night that happened, I was scared. I was terrified. I was scared, and I was like, this couldn't be. I was like, this can't be happening. This can't be happening. This is not gonna happen. And I followed the guidance. I gravitated to people online that didn't think that this was going to happen, that even though this happened this way, that we were still going to shift back into the better timeline. We weren't going to go all the way through. Somehow or the other, before it was time to go through that tunnel, somehow or the other was going to shift. Somehow or the other, we was going to shift back into the right timeline, the correct timeline that was going to lead us to something better, because there's no way that humanity was going to self-sabotage like this. There's no way that we would set ourselves back like this at a critical time where we needed to be thinking about making changes in order to work in harmony with the planet and save our planet and save each other from a lot of the bad things. There's no way that we was going to set ourselves, push ourselves back or set ourselves back, or, move into, like, there's no way that we were going to stop progress and roll back progress at such a critical time as this. So here I am now in this timeline, and I have ventured beyond where I expected to go, and I have shifted and become a person that I didn't see coming, right? That I didn't see coming. And I have to walk confidently in that because it feels natural to me. I call this era my butterfly season. And the reason I call it my butterfly season is because I see myself as transitioning into a butterfly, moving out of the caterpillar stage to the butterfly. And I'm reflecting that not only from the internal but the external, in terms of, as you can see, how I dress and how I carry myself, and how I take care of myself, how I live my life. I seeking after beautiful things now, like this morning. The reason I'm all dressed up this morning is because I went to a farm nearby. It's about 20 minutes away. A farm that grows sunflowers every summer, and it's the sunflowers are in bloom and beautiful. The sunflower field is just at the peak moment of bloom, that it's just beautiful. And the reason I knew that is I always miss it. Every summer I miss it. And last Sunday, a couple of days ago, we went for ice cream because they have an ice cream. They have an ice cream parlor, ice cream shop or whatever you call it. And we went for ice cream on Sunday, and that's when I realized that the flowers were still in bloom. But it was a busy Sunday afternoon, and a lot of people wanted to take pictures, and a lot of people was there. So I asked my husband if he could take me back, just me and him, because the last time the kids were there and everything. Just me and him, if he could take me back early in the morning so that I could enjoy those sunflowers without having to feel pressured into, moving out of the way so other people could take pictures or other people could come and park, and, without the pressure, just the quiet of the morning, just the sounds of nature. It's next to the road, so you kind of hear the traffic too, but the sounds of nature, you know, and the beauty of the early morning. So I'm seeking after beautiful things, you know. I am becoming a beautiful thing. I've always been a beautiful thing, but I'm letting it show. I'm letting my light shine. I'm finally like really stepping into that. Let your light shine. I am letting it shine in everything, in every, individuals that people can see. But it's not for other people, it's for me. It's for me when I look in the mirror, for me when I take those pictures, for me when I capture the images, when I see myself, I feel like a butterfly, I feel like a sunflower, I feel like someone who's letting that her light shine. And I feel that the reason that I went way beyond way beyond what I've ever done in that capacity in this time is because I feel that it's so dark now. It's so much darkness. It's so much awfulness that I guess I am trying to restore balance by being extra bright, at being extremely bright, so that I could counter some of that darkness, so that I can be a light in the dark. And if you are someone who have watched my videos before, one of the things I always say is that that's not what I wanted to do. I didn't want to stand out. I mean, I wanted to shine, but I didn't want to stand out. I wanted all of us to shine. I didn't want to be a light in the dark, as I say. I wanted to be a part of the light. I wanted to be a part of the collective light, not a light in the dark that stands out in the darkness, And I didn't want to live in a time such as this. I still don't. I don't know where we're going. I don't know how this story is going to end, you know. I just know that I'm going to shine till the end. I am going to learn and unlearn and grow and become and blossom and bloom and be, and be grateful, be present, be here. I am going to continue to work on my growth, continue to love myself, continue to love myself so much that it doesn't matter like where else love comes from, and like everything else is just a bonus, you know. I feel loved. I feel blessed. I love myself. I feel loved by my surroundings. I feel loved by Mother Earth. I feel loved by nature. And I feel loved by the birds that are making music around me. I feel loved by these plants that are, in the final stages of growing, like these potato plants. And I feel loved by what I'm surrounded by, I feel loved by the world around me. And the reason that I'm working on this channel and build and Letitia Learns Life is because I want to be an expression of love. I want to be an expression of light. I want to be an expression of my ideas and my creativity, and an expression of color. And, I want to inspire other people who I want to learn with other people who, I hope to find curious people who just want to live life and be and just be, just be. That's all I keep saying, to just be. So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. I'm going to meet you in the serenity room later, and what we're going to do is we're going to talk about some of the things that are going on in the external world. Like, I'm totally aware of the things. I don't go down deep into the political theater, or the I don't go down deep into the drama or into the fears or into the anything, because is not what's real to me is not what I'm seeing on my phone. What's real to me is this bugs that are buzzing around my head. What's real to me is the birds that are making the music and my backyard, the quiet of my backyard. What's real to me is that I just want to look at sunflowers that's what's real to me. That's my life, you know. And it doesn't make any sense me being afraid of things that I read on the phone, me being afraid of headlines, and me being afraid for people, that are somewhere else to me. We all have to be present where we are. If we are in the thick of it and we need to fight, then we need to fight. If you are not in the thick of it, it doesn't make any sense. Carrying fear is more powerful to hold the light and hold the prayers and the manifestation and the positive thinking. Hold the light, cover people with your prayers and your light and your positive energy and your thoughts. Hold the light for people who need that, you know and obviously, if I was meant to be in the thick of it, if I was meant to be in the fight, and my physical being in the fight, then that's where it would be. But I'm here and I'm where I am, experiencing my life in the way that I'm experiencing it. So obviously, this is the way that I'm meant to experience this timeline at the moment. This is the way I'm meant to experience my life. And if it changes, if it shifts, then that's a bridge you cross when you get to it. As my father would say, you cross that bridge when you get to it. But he's saying, as the saying goes, the biblical verse says, don't worry about tomorrow. Don't worry about the things you can't change. Don't worry about things that haven't happened yet. you know so that is what it is. So like I said, I'll meet you in the serenity room and we will discuss this. I'm gonna let you look at my computer so you could see the digital clippings that I've collected. Digital clippings, meaning screenshots of news headlines and things that I picked upon, like things that that came to me, that showed up in my feed, or showed up, notification that came on my phone, or that I saw somewhere. I went on an app and I saw somewhere, like on YouTube or Substack or somewhere. I also collect positive quotes as well, people that share positive quotes and that kind of stuff. So I will share my digital clippings with you. And also another thing that I'm going to share before I stop this recording is I'm going to share my numbers, because that's a part of this whole series that I'm doing too, this summer series, where I'm sharing my numbers for my quest 2 and quest 3. I call my 2025 missions, my 2025 goals, my quests. So as I have said many times, quest 1 is just inner peace and balance, inner harmony and balance. And that is what the first 6 months has been really focused on. Since summer began, I started focus on quest 2 and quest 3, which was weight loss and body health. And that is going very well, and to 207 pounds on the scale. And my husband said we're going for 5 by Friday. That's how we say it, 5 by Friday, meaning we're going for 205 by Friday. So wish me luck with that. My goal is I'm 16 days away from my birthday, even though I said 17 in the previous recording I did, the previous short that I did. I'm 16 days away from my birthday. And my goal is to get out, my hope and my goal is to get out to the 200s by my birthday, which is the 28th of August. I'm hoping. So wish me luck with that as well. And my quest 3 is my YouTube growth. meaning getting the subscribers up. I want to get to 100, at least 100. Even more would be a bonus, but at least 100 subscribers by the end of 2025. So far, I have gotten to 71. I got 71 today. It was 70 early this morning, and I looked later in the morning, and it was 71. So I'm to 71 subscribers today, and that's good. I'm also trying to get my watch hours and all kind of thing to increase. That's the challenge, but you know, this is not a sprint; it's a marathon. I don't mind taking my time and working on my YouTube growth and developing this channel at the pace that is right for me. You know, I will continue to work on it and continue to try, but I'm gonna also have fun with my life and just work on myself. That's the main thing right now, working on myself, you know, and being ready for whatever's to come. That's the main thing right now. But having this channel grow means a lot to me because I got a good idea now. I have a good idea of, I have the idea, you know, the vision of where this could go, what I could do with this channel, and what I can do to pursue what I want to do, you know, what I want to do to make money, what I want to do in life, my purpose, you know, my how to say, my purpose outside of motherhood and outside of being a wife and a mom and being me, my purpose, my goal. So I got a good idea what I want to do, and I'm excited about it. I see the possibilities, and I'm keeping the faith that the world is going to get it right. We're going to get it right before it's too late. I'm keeping the faith, but if we don't, you know, I know that I'm gonna, how to say, I'm gonna go out kicking. That's what you say. I'm gonna go out with a beautiful, shiny, sparkly, glittery, fun, whimsical, joyful, hopeful, loving, friendly, empathetic, kind, good, wonderful, amazing, blessed, favored bang. That's how I'm going to go out of this world. That's how I'm going to live for the rest of my days. And that's how I'm going to end my life. And I'm going to take life one day at a time. And I'm going to let my light shine and spread the love according to how my mom says it. I'm going to let my light shine and spread the love. So thank you for watching, and I'll meet you in the Serenity Room later. Hello, everybody. Thank you for meeting me in the Serenity Room. This is my special room where I do my recording in the quiet, and I do my thinking, I do my working, I do my creating and working on my YouTube channel. This is my special space. I have, if you're meeting me for the first time, I've had various times where I've shown people the vibes of my room, but my room has a good Letitia energy to it. You know, it is designed specifically for me, you know, and I just love this space. I love this room. I'm so grateful for this room. I've wanted a space like this for a very long time, and this is why I know that the season that I am in has shifted, because I have gone from a season of uncertainty, still uncertain, but gone from a season of like yearning and wanting and striving and trying to make things happen, and always having delay, having to wait. It wasn't time yet. And now all of a sudden I feel like the doors have been opened, and I am now to the time that I, for a very long time, have been waiting for, and had no idea what this time was going to be like when I got here, what I was going to be like, what the energy was going to be like, what the time was going to be like. And now that I'm here, now that I am to where I have been yearning to be, that season in my life for a very long time, and I'm looking around and I'm like, wow, I did not expect it to be like this. It never, that thing never comes packaged in the way that you think it will be. And that is why I've learned to be present. I've learned to focus on the present and stay in the moment and focus on a few steps ahead of me instead of like 10, 12, leapfrogging steps ahead, worrying about what's up ahead and what I think I see from where I am. But just keep moving forward, because you don't know how things are going to change by the time you get to to the destination that you could see. You know, you might be looking from here and seeing a big rock in front of you, but by the time you get over there, somebody might have moved the rock. The rock might just completely disappear. It might not be there anymore. Or it may have never been a rock in the first place. It only looked like a rock. You know, it may have been a mirage. It may have been not what you thought it was. You know, so I've learned to be present. And if I'm thinking about the present right now, the present is today's a good day. The present is this month so far has been good. A good month for me. This is my birthday month, and I am exuding. Is that the right word? I'm exuding. I am radiating, and I'm radiating sunflower energy, sunflower butterfly energy. You know, I got my sunflower cup, and I am drinking. I don't really have a lot of teas right now. I have various teas, but this is the one I drink most of the time when I'm doing these videos, because I just like the word energy. Energy tea. That's what you want. You want energy. You want to be focused. You want your brain to be functioning as you're about to get into some work. So this is a immune booster ginseng tea. It's a oolong tea, ginseng oolong tea. And you know, ginseng is very good for energy, good for the brain, good for the body. So I think that ginseng tea is a good tea to start the day with, especially when you're about to get into some creating, get into some work where you need that brain power, you know. So anyway, this is what it looks like. It comes in these little cups. This particular box comes with a cup that you can mix, and 20 of these little cups, plus a water cup, or whatever you call it, like a cup. It comes with a cup. Cups downstairs right now. You could either have it as iced tea or hot tea, and I realized that I didn't like it as iced tea. I prefer it as hot tea. I mix it with honey. This hot water that I have here is honey water. And I'm going to have sunflower chips. It is 20 for 160 calories, so I'm gonna have sunflower chips. This morning I had a cup of positive energy tea. That is from a different tea brand. What is that from? My husband made me a cup of tea. And then I from my favorite tea brand, Yogi tea brand. And then I had some fruit. I had grapes and blueberries, and I'm on a quest 5 by Friday. I'm 207 right now on the scale, and I'm trying to get to 205. So I'm hoping that I make good decisions with what I put in my body, and I hang in there and I get to 205 by Friday, because that's a really cool slogan. 5 by Friday. You know, he came up with that. 5 by Friday. So I've been mentally repeating it. 5 by Friday, 5 by Friday, 5 by Friday. That's the goal. 5 by Friday. And the birthday goal is what I'm hoping is to get out to the 200s by my birthday. I'm not so sure if I'm going to make that goal, but you know, send me positive energy. And here's hoping. Can't get my fingers here. Here's hoping. Wish me luck. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure I look up the tea. It's sweet tangerine positive energy tea from Yogi. I love Yogi tea. The Yogi brand. So my mom, she does a thing where she does she she asks people, what tea are you having today? Because my mom does tea blends and her own tea mix, and that's so cool. That's so freaking cool. So she boils like different things and makes teas. And the recent one she did was neem tea. She took 3 sips of it. She said it was bitter. I don't know if she's gonna do neem tea again, but she gave it a shot because, you know, it's good for your body. My mom is on a health quest, and I love it. She is learning to be a herbalist and somebody who makes their own products, you know, like lotions and tinctures, and we make capsules together, and you know, hair products and all kinds of cool stuff my mom makes, and that's really, really cool. And so she has a channel. It's Sweet Annie's Naturals. It's Sweet Annie's Naturals. She has and Sweet Annie's Kitchen and Sweet Annie's Fave. She has 3 YouTube channels. The main one is Sweet Annie's Naturals, and she recently started in Sweet Annie's Kitchen to put her recipes on, because my mom shares recipes as well. And I'm so freaking proud of my mom. I know I talk about my mom a lot, but I'm really freaking proud of my mom, and I'm proud of myself, and I'm going to have my tea now, and my ginseng oolong tea, and my sweet potato chips. And then I'm going to flip the screen and we're going to talk about some of the things that I screenshot. I call them digital clippings, like of news, headlines, and quotes, and memes, and comments, and interesting things. Just interesting things that I picked up and collected from my social media feeds, that gives you a vibe of the energy and what is going on right now, at least the things that I paying attention to, because there's a lot of things that is going on right now. So just the things that I took notice of, I took mental note of. So I will flip the screen and we will discuss. Since I told you that I would flip the screen, I was doing a little thing after after I finished my snack. I was trying to upload a few of the videos that I'm trying to upload from my Google Photos to my external hard drive, because I'm trying to lower the expenses, lower the cost of having to pay for Google storage for my old stuff, my old content, my old videos that, I'm currently paying around 10 something for 2 Google photo storage accounts. And I also just started paying 2 something, which is the smallest package. 10 something is the second highest package for 2. All right, I paused because I had to look up what TB stands for. Like I said, this channel is the Tisha Learns Life, so we are basically learning things together. Even though I feel like I know a lot of stuff and I'm a very intelligent person, I still feel like there's a lot of things that I don't know, and I'm glad to be a part of the age where you can have information at your fingertips. And I intend to be one of those people that uses that privilege and power to make the world better, to make myself better, and use it to my advantage. I know a lot of people use that privilege and power to, to lie, cheat, steal, destroy, con people, to take advantage of people, to deceive people, to fearmonger people, to create narratives that they want, and they use it for negative. But I intend to use that for positive, first of all, by educating myself, by becoming a more enlightened, awake person, to not be embarrassed with the things I don't know, but to share what I don't know and share the information as I am learning in real time. So in terms of my Google Photo storage, I am paying 3 accounts right now. I am paying for the second highest storage, which is 10 something, for 2 accounts, and I'm paying the lowest. I just started paying the lowest for another account because, my storage, I'm making so much content these days, and I have been making so much content over the years that the storage is now like overflowing. I am needing more storage, and I don't really need that storage. I don't even know if I really, really have to have, copies, basically storage, copies of this old stuff. Who knows? I don't know if I'm ever going to look at this stuff again, but I'm keeping it because it's my creation, it's my content, it's my story. So I'm keeping it on my external hard drive, and I'm going to try my best to take good care of my external hard drive so I don't have any issues. I don't corrupt the hard drive. I don't make it difficult for me to open, which is one of my fears, because sometimes you don't know if you're doing the right thing or the wrong thing. You don't know. You train, but I'll try my best to be as careful as possible. So anyway, TB stands for terabyte. So I am paying for 2 terabytes, I believe, for 2 accounts, and then the lowest, which I can't remember what size that is, for another one. So while I was doing that, I was patiently waiting, because it takes a really long time for these things to move. I was watching a lot of videos. So this is what I'm going to be doing in this section of the video. First of all, I'm going to show you my YouTube homepage that I just pull up. This is my YouTube homepage. I want to show you some of the things that is currently in my feed, what my algorithm is sending me at present. I just pulled it up like 5 minutes ago. I also have another page open where I was in the middle of watching a Midas Touch video called Trump's Plans Blow Up in His Face as DC Protests Erupt. And that is a DC protest in regards to Trump federalizing the DC police, or as people say, federal takeover of the in DC, sending in the National Guard and blah blah blah, talking about trying to lower crime and basically taking over DC, which from my understanding of listening to various content creators, various creators, as they pass on this information and try to explain and offer clarity to what is going on. From what I understand, he's able to do that legally because Washington, D.C. doesn't have a governor. Washington, D.C. is not a state, really. It does have a mayor, but it doesn't have a governor. It's not a state. So that's something that he's able to do. And you know what? I even know what is happening right now is absolutely like just, it's scary and disorienting and chaotic and confusing and all this. It's a lot of stuff. It's a lot of stupidity. It's a lot of stuff, right? I am appreciating the fact that these people are testing the limit of everything. They're putting it all to the test. They're putting democracy to the test. And right now, it is showing how weakened democracy was. And this version of democracy is being destroyed. Is almost completely being destroyed. So when they destroyed this version of democracy, which was, to me, I'm now realizing, never really a democracy in the first place. Democracy was just a disguise that this system, this capitalistic, consuming, pay for play, protecting the wealthy kind, money and politics system, had on a democracy costume, and they wanted to pretend that certain things was, in the name of democracy, and that they were doing democracy, for lack of better words. They were doing democracy, but they really weren't. They weren't doing democracy. And throughout the whole time, as I was starting to pay attention and realize how MAGA and Trump supporters would talk about democracy, they always would like to correct you, and when we talk about democracy and saving democracy, they would correct you, and they would say, this is not a democracy, this is a republic. And smart, intelligent content creators would say, a republic, this is a republic democracy, this is a version of democracy. And as I paid attention to the way how the American politics work, I found it to be very, I found it to be very, I don't know what the right word is, so I'm just going to say something. I found it to be kind of silly. I found it to be, it made no sense in a lot of areas. Like, I couldn't understand why, a president, anybody could run for president, and the only standards they had to meet was a certain age limit and being a citizen of the country, and no political experience or anything was necessary. Nothing to show that person was fit to be the leader of the free world. other than an age requirement and citizenship, right? I believe that those are the two main things. And anybody could run for president. And that's a scary thought. Another thing I didn't understand is if the Supreme Court is the end all be all, the ultimate court that makes decisions that, after things have gone through all the various courts, right? The smaller courts, the appeals court, all that. After things will go through the various courts and then end up in the Supreme Court, the Supreme Court is the final say, the final decision. And a president got to appoint the Supreme Court justices, and there was nothing in place that would make it more fair. Like, it's all about whoever won an election could literally appoint, if it was possible, appointing all 9 judges if it was possible for that person to do it, if there was opportunity to do it. Like, I just felt like, why didn't they just have something in place that they would make it more fair in the way how Supreme Court justices were appointed. There was a lot of things I didn't understand that made absolutely no sense and did not, and showed that really and truthfully, it was wearing a democracy disguise, because that those low, what do you call them? Those poison pills, or those poison claws or things, whatever the word that you will put there, those poisonous features made this game very, very easy. This political game, this political arena, very easy to manipulate and to make it work in your favor, which is what the Republicans did. They made a system that was designed to benefit the rich and benefit politicians that represented the rich much more than the everyday person. They designed a system to work in their favor. And now this guy, this nincompoop right here, who is a representation of ignorance and ego and narcissism and greed and selfishness and capitalism and cruelty and lack of empathy and an unloved person and all these kind of things. He embodies the worst, almost all the worst elements of human beings. He's a living human symbol of the worst parts of all of us, and why he is so powerful in the sense in which people give him their power. Why he's so powerful is because he draws those kind of people. He draws those kind of people that are attracted to the parts of him, which is like, he embodies all of it. So every kind of person who is tapping into the worst version of themselves, every kind of corrupt person, every kind of great liar or manipulator or low vibrational person is attracted to him, because he's a low vibrational energy that attracts low vibration energy. So let me just show you what's on my page. At least the things that stick out to me, not all, but let me show you some of the things that stick out to me. All right, so here we got Hunter Biden slams Trump in powerful follow-up. Didn't watch that, but that's interesting. This is what a Vlog Brothers. I talked about the Vlog Brothers in one of my previous posts. That's a Vlog Brothers video right there. Bible level shift. As you can see, my feed is a combination of both spirituality. It's both people who talk about the real physical world and people who talk about the spiritual world. It is both people who inform of what is happening in the real world and people who are talking about the things that in the unseen world, the world that we don't see but we feel and we experience and we know, the knowing, the world that hasn't come into full fruition yet, but we know we know what's happening. You know what I mean? We know what's going on. The parable of 2032 trains. Oh, that sounds interesting. Okay. The fascists can't win because Americans are still fighting. This is part Rose Permaculture, and she is very, very eloquent and well-informed and know how to talk to people, again, about what is happening in the real world and what people could do in the real world realm, what we could do about certain things. So she talks about the physical world. Trump deploys National Guard to D.C. Texas redistricting standoff continues. plus more. That's a Breakfast Club post. Okay. Humanity is splitting into which timeline are you on? And I talked about this at the beginning of this video. I talked about the fact that people are talking about humanity splitting into, and I could see it for myself because my feed is a good representation of that. It's really, really hard for me. I'm on in the in between, but I am sure that if one person is on one side or the other, one person is only focusing on the spiritual stuff, then their algorithm will shape that world, and they will see mostly the spiritual stuff, mostly the light stuff. If another person is focusing on the physical world and the dark energy, that's what they're getting. If you're focusing on the light energy, that's what you're getting. But here I am in the in-between. At the same time that I'm in the in-between, I still try to be very cautious what I click on. Is to be informed, is to be aware, is to understand, is to gain clarity. Because another thing that I said at the beginning of this video is that I believe, or if I didn't say it in the beginning of this video, I said it in one of the recordings that I did today, because I did a bunch of recordings already for the day. I believe that knowledge alleviates fear, and if you know how things work, and if you can make sense and gain clarity of what's actually happening, and you're not easily manipulated and easily fooled, that helps to alleviate the feelings of fear, because you understand what is going on. You have a little bit more clarity, and you can save the fear for if you in a situation where that fear is needed, where you need to run, or you need to, that fear is something that is a useful tool to get you moving, get you aware of the dangers that you're in. We have to use fear the right way. We have to use fear correctly. Okay. All right, so moving on from this, because I don't see anything else that I want to talk about here in my main feed. I'm just showing you what's in my feed. I am not showing you things that I watched or click on, but no, that's what I want to do. I want to go into my history, because I want to discuss some of the things. Well, look at all these things in my history just because I passed them. That's so funny. Okay, a lot of these things I didn't watch just because I happened to carry my mouse over it and I played a little bit. You see, it's in my history, but I didn't watch any of those things. This is the last thing that I was watching. That's the thing that's still open here that I'm not finished watching yet. I'm watching Ben Myers talk about the protests in DC. Before that, I watched this one. Anonymous exposes Trump's Epstein cover-up. Before that, I watched this one. MTG throws Trump under the bus as he ditches her. And this is a very, very interesting one, because this is showing a shift and a transition and a lack of self-awareness from Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is a part of the creation of this monster, adding to this monster, helping this monster that she is now speaking out against, in some ways, and confused because the monster isn't what she thought the monster was going to be. The monster is not focusing on America first, like she says, and focusing on certain things, but the monster is, I don't know, just complaining about the monster being what the monster always was, for representing the rich and, doing a lot of things that she didn't expect, which is very ironic. If you watch this video and you see the clips, because what Ben Myers does for Midas Touch is he shows you clips. And so you get to see the clips and you hear things in her own voice, and you hear the clips of her very confused because she in a little feud with some other some other loudmouth Trump supporters like Laura Loomer, who you would have to be deep into the political following the political stories that you would know who Laura Loomer is, but she's very close, or was very close, to Donald Trump. She is one of those grifting type people that held on to his robe and holding on to it for dear life. And because she's a good suck up, and because she carries that worship the master energy, he keeps her in his orbit, and he says nice things about her because she says nice things about him. So she is fighting with Marjorie Taylor Greene along with somebody else, Mark Levin, who I believe works for Fox News or has his own podcast or something like that, has a very annoying scratchy voice, but that's not the important part. But Ben had shown some of the things that Laura Loomer said about MTG, and Laura Loomer has a potty mouth, a very disgusting mouth, and you know they're fighting with each other, and MTG, Marjorie Taylor Greene, seems quite surprised that the monster is, or how they would say, the leopard is eating her face. Mega is starting to come for her, right? And it reminded me of a quote, to be honest. I wanted to bring up this quote a little further down, so let me talk about more things. This one here, not, yeah, this one is not really that one, nope. Okay, so what else I watched was discussions about Candace Owens. I watched like two or three, yeah, videos related to Candace Owens, because I clicked on one and then my algorithm send me a few more. So this is the first one I clicked. You ain't got to lie, Candace. You ain't got to lie. This was very good. And then I click on this one. Candace Owens actually thought Trump cared about black people. And then I also got this one. Candace Owens' lawsuit cost her $5 million, she claims. We don't have the money. Okay, so for anybody that doesn't know, Candace Owens has a very, very interesting story. She's a very interesting person. She has very much hypocritical grifter energy about her. And she is like a shapeshifter or a chameleon or whatever, but she has a serious grifter energy. She has an egotistical way about her, the way she talks. She seems a little bit delusional. She's extremely confident, it seems confident in her energy, and she's very talented. I wish that I had the talent like her. I wish I had the ability to speak with clarity and convincing. Like, I wish I had the gift of gab like how she does, because I do have the intelligence. I have some interesting things to share with the world, but I do not have that eloquence and that gift of gab that some people have. And some people take that talent and they use it for lack of better words, they use it for evil. They use it for grifting and hurting people. So anyway, Candace Owens is being sued by the French president. I think it's the French president. Sometimes I get confused with whether it's president or prime minister. Macron. What is his name? Emmanuel Macron he's 47 years old. That's amazing. 47. Wow, 47 years old. He is the French president, and apparently the president of France. I was looking for that. The president of France. So he's suing Candace Owens because apparently Candace Owens for over a year was accusing Bridget Macron, his wife, of being a trans man. And apparently they asked her to stop, and she refused. They sent her a bunch of information of Bridget Macron's background and pics and a whole bunch of stuff to show that what she's saying is wrong. And she still continued to accuse Bridget Macron of being a man. And so they decided to sue, right? And there's a little story that I heard in following this story a little bit, not a lot. A little story I heard, which it seems to me is a true story, is that the French president, who's 47 years old, and Bridget Macron is like way older. I don't know how old she is, but she was his teacher. He was her student, from what I heard, and I guess they fell in love later. I guess, and apparently I just heard in a video that her daughter was his classmate. And that's none of my freaking business. I think from what I see, he seems like an okay president. I don't like follow it close up, but he seems to do a reasonably good job as president. And I'm amazed that he's 47 years old. He's not that much older than me. That's amazing. But they're suing Candace Owens, and Candace Owens seems to be doubling down and responding, and being a little bit delusional about it in her response. Not really. It doesn't seem as though she really understands the gravity of the situation that she's in. It doesn't. I don't know how this story is gonna end and how it's gonna turn out. But the confidence that this girl has is amazing. The delusion that she has also, and the ego also, but is just amazing. Is too bad that powers weren't was she chose not to use that powers for good, because those are good qualities when used for good. That she seems overly confident, like very confident in her energy. Like I said, she she doesn't seem to back down. She's very strong. She's not a quitter. She doesn't seem to really fit in with her people, the black race. She seems to feel more at home with white people. She married a white man, and she seems hypocritical and delusional, and she has grifter energy. Like, I don't know how delusional, but she's obviously a little bit delusional, and she has grifter energy. Like, her world seems to be an interesting place. And okay, so that's what's going on there, and we will see how that turns out. The first time I ever saw Candace Owens, I saw her in a PragerU ad. This is before I really truly understand how yucky American politics was, before I understood how yucky the energy from the right wing side of American politics was. But I heard her in a PragerU ad, and when she was in this ad, it disgusted me, to be honest, when she said that nobody cares what celebrities have to say, right? And I know in a certain sense, people might be like, well, nothing wrong with saying that. But the energy I got from it was that because you're a celebrity, you don't get to have an opinion just like everybody else. And I've never understood that energy. I mean, yes, you got a bigger platform, and it's annoying when a celebrity with a big ass platform has bullshit understanding of things and are supporting something that is not good. It sucks. It sucks when their example is a terrible one. But at the same time, that person, whether they're a celebrity with a big ass platform or not, just has as much of a right to care about their political system, to care about their country, to care about things outside of being a celebrity or being an athlete or being somebody that's famous, to care about things outside of that and to have an opinion on it and to speak their opinion. They have as much right as everybody else. And she kind of like, just the energy that was coming from that ad just like grossed me out, and it disgusted me and gave me a bad taste in my mouth. And that was my first witnessing of introduction to Candace Owens, and since then she has always made me want to vomit. But I respect her confidence. I respect her gifts. She has the gift of gab, and at one point I know that she even had my mom feeling her a little bit and agreeing with her on things, because I've heard my mom say stuff like that. But I've never liked Candace Owens, and I've heard people that I care about and respect talk about her, like if she has some, like, talk about her in a good way, in a positive way. And that bothered me because I already knew that this girl is a grifter, a talented gift of gab grifter, and she's MAGA. And anybody that's MAGA is not. I'm totally anti-MAGA, 100%. So anyway, but grifter energy she has. And I was really appreciating these videos that I watched, because these videos was like, girl, you're in the find out stage. In your FAFO stage, you are in the find out part of it. And they're talking about her possibly losing everything and all that kind of stuff, and there was a part where they showed a clip where Candace Owens doing an interview with Tucker Carlson, and even Tucker Carlson to a certain extent, and I dislike Tucker Carlson with all my energy. Even Tucker Carlson to a certain extent was like so baffled by the fact that this girl was not going to seek to have this case dropped, and he kind of snickered and said, this is the first time I've ever heard anybody not seek to have a case of this size dropped. It's like he knew that this girl, a little delusional, and this is not going to end well for you, girl. Well, that was the energy that I got from the clip that I saw. I never watch a Tucker Carlson interview. The only time I hear these people talk is when these clips are shown by other people, So the other thing I want to talk about is this video here. This video, this is the one that stuck out to me, the anonymous video that stuck out to me that I watched today while I was waiting for the videos that I was moving towards my external hard drive. So I was waiting, while I was waiting, I had things playing, you know. Anonymous exposes Trump's alarming Liberation Day plot. So this is an anonymous news channel, and even though this is one of those faceless channels where you don't know who's behind the channel, who's behind creating the content for this channel, it is a very informative channel, and it makes you aware of a lot of things that is going on with that, in that, from that side of things, you know. And I did not watch the man's press conference yesterday, but in this video I got to see clips from that press conference, and I could tell you that press conference was something else. Again, the grifter energy, the energy that comes from these people, right? As they were talking about taking over DC and talking about, okay, I don't know how to say it, but yeah. So the name of the video is Anonymous Exposes Trump's Alarming Liberation Day plot. And I'm not going to be able to describe the video. You have to watch it yourself. But it talks about the language. You have to pay attention to the language and the words that they use, the words of manipulation, the words that they use to divide, to create a certain energy and a certain narrative that they want to create. And these people they're testing the system. They're testing the people and the people's resolve of whether people will willingly give up their freedom. They're trying to make people weary. They're trying to make people distracted and unfocused, and people, so much chaos all at once that it's just too much, and people are just going to shut down. But just as much as there are a lot of them, there are a lot of people everywhere fighting back, fighting in whatever way they can, pushing back in whatever way they can, speaking out in whatever way they can, and doing things. And I'm pretty sure that the people that are coming for them, the justice and the fall that is coming for them, is going to come as a sudden surprise. So a lot of times we think everything that we see is everything that is happening. Everything that we see is all the stuff that is working, that is doing the pushback. Only what we see. But there's more than what we see that is gonna come there, that is gonna come for them. Eventually there's consequences to their actions. There's justice is coming. I believe it, and I don't understand why for this terrible person, why it's taking so long. But I feel like he had a mission here. I feel like his mission was to wake people up, to wake this planet up and help people to wake up so that they could choose which side they're on, consciously choose which side they're on, if they're on the dark side or the light, so people wake up so they would choose, so that's the way that is. But after watching these videos, the whole theme is the Candace Owens. I watched three videos about Candace Owens, one video about Trump's Liberation Day, which is his press conference that he held to make a case for why he taking over DC, with his sending the National Guard to DC and talking about how disgusting it is and how much crime is in DC. And apparently that whole thing started from one person being attacked, and apparently his nickname is Big Balls or something, some skinny pale guy. I don't even know that one. Just, I saw the Big Balls thing in people's titles and in people's videos, and I never really went into that thread at all, so I don't know nothing about that. So it only came clear to me what this whole Big Balls concept was about, that I kept seeing in my feed a little bit. It was a catalyst or whatever, something that they used in order to do this, to test the system in Washington, D.C., to test how much the American people would take. And people are protesting. People are protesting and standing up and speaking up against that. So, yeah. So those were the main themes for the things I watched this morning. Plus this plus the MTG video that I watched from Midas Touch, and this one that I halfway watched. It made me think of this quote: never interfere Never interfere with the enemy in the process of destroying himself. Never interfere with the enemy in the process of destroying himself. And that's a Napoleon quote. And that's what that made me think of. So, okay. Okay, so now we are in my Google Photos. And I have both my photos that I took in the last couple of days and my screenshots, on the screen. So yeah, I like I told you, August is my sunflower month. These are my sunflower days, and this is my birthday month. And I said that I will be enjoying sunflowers in a different way than I normally do. I'll be enjoying being a sunflower theme in the way I dress, and just sunflower energy. And I'll enjoy appreciating other people's sunflowers. So I had a nice couple of days. My weekend was nice, and today was nice. Today was a nice day. This was an early morning run to go see the sunflowers one more time before they let the cows in, because what they do on that farm is they let the cows in to graze on the sunflowers. So let me see if I can find my most recent stuff. Meet the Native American tribe that beat the Trump administration in court for now. Members of the Miccosukee tribe are celebrating after a judge temporarily blocked further construction at the Alligator Alcatraz migrant detention facility upstream from their reservation. It's a temporary victory for an Indian tribe whose history has been partially shaped by broken promises from the United States. But temporary or not, Thursday's order put the Miccosukee, a small tribe of less than 1,000 members, in the middle of the most high-profile use of environmental law to challenge the Trump administration. This is a post from Robert Wright. I like to save a lot of his posts because he puts a lot of things into perspective and clarity in a really good way. So to help us to understand what we are experiencing right now. Robert Reich has been arguing for, taxing the rich and taking money out of politics, and fighting for democracy and the right kind of democracy for a very, very long time. He's very short. I think he's 4 foot something. He's really shorter than me, and I'm short. And he recently wrote a book and published a book, and he's on his book tour called, I think it is called Coming Up Short. And one of the interesting things he had been saying in his interviews and stuff like that is how the boomers kind of blew it. The boomers had a lot of possibility and privilege handed to them, especially the white ones, I guess. Especially the white ones. And they kind of like carry this whole pull up the ladder energy, like protecting the boomers, and protecting themselves and their own, as opposed to also protecting their children's futures. That's the way I kind of agree with that idea and that thought process from my own observation. I don't mean to be mean or unkind to boomers, or to be unkind to a particular generation, or blame. I'm not blaming a person. I'm blaming. I'm pointing out what my observations are of a generation. And one of the books that I've been listening to and I have not gotten a chance to finish yet is The Fourth Turning is Here. The Fourth Turning is Here by Neil Howe, and he does talk about the different personality types of different generations, and he calls the millennial generation the hero generation, and he explains what he means by these different types of these archetypes of a particular type of generation. And from what he has studied, different generations have a different way of being because of the seasons that they move through in their lives, in their age and their coming of age, and throughout the course of their life, the different seasons that they are in, and how it aligns with the season that the entire world is in, the collective and the world in general is in. So, that is a book that I need to finish, and that is a book I wanted to do a video on. So I hope to do a video on it when I finish it. But I've been busy. There's a lot. It's a lot going on. So anyway, Robert Reich, he posts this. I screenshot this from YouTube. Medicare for all, that's socialism. Social security, that's socialism. By the way, these are in quotations, if you know. Debt-free education, that's socialism. Universal childcare, that's socialism. 1 trillion in tax cuts for the richest 1%. That's just how it is. Makes sense. Makes sense. That's the way how people think, especially the people who fight for that, who fight for the billionaires. That's what they want us to believe. Okay, so these are screenshots from yesterday. The Al Jazeera media company said in a Sunday statement that 4 of its journalists, including prominent correspondent Anas Sharif, were killed in an Israeli airstrike on a tent housing reporters in Gaza City. Israeli strike kills 4 Al Jazeera journalists, including Anas al-Sharif in Gaza, network says. This is the one that is very, very, all of these things are concerning, but this is very concerning. Supreme Court formally asked to overturn landmark same-sex marriage ruling. 10 years after the Supreme Court extended marriage rights to same-sex couples nationwide, the justices this fall will consider for the first time whether to take up the case that explicitly asks them to overturn that decision. Kim Davis, the former Kentucky county clerk, who was jailed for 6 days in 2015 after refusing to issue marriage licenses to a gay couple on religious grounds, is appealing a $100,000 jury verdict for emotional damages plus $260,000 for attorney fees. And I will have to say that, when I read this, my thought immediately went to the fact that they're going to do it because they've done everything that they promised to do. The Supreme Court has shown themselves, the GOP majority Supreme Court has shown themselves to be fully aligned with the Project 2025 agenda. And they basically want to roll back everything and take away all the things that don't align with their theology, their agenda, their outlook on life, their, way in which people, the way how they see people and all the rights that people have gained over the last 50 years, they're getting ready to try to roll those things back. And I am going to be an observer to see how people regain the rights that they're losing, that are being taken away from them. Colombia Senator Miguel Uribe dies after June campaign shooting. Right-wing presidential hopeful who had multiple surgeries after shooting in Bogota has died aged 39. And I just copied that because that is an interesting geopolitical fact. Somebody who was running for president in Colombia and was shot in the head and had multiple surgeries. He died at 39 years old, and that's awful. I found this to be an interesting fact. AOL set to pull the plug on iconic dial-up internet service. And why is it interesting? Because I didn't even know that AOL is still operational. So I find that to be very interesting. AOL is still offering dial-up service. That's crazy. After more than 30 years of connecting people to the internet through dial-up, AOL is hanging up its iconic service. AOL routinely evaluates its products and services and has decided to discontinue dial-up internet. The company's website states, this service will no longer be available in AOL plans. The service and dialer software will discontinue as of September 30th, 2025. And I think that that's about it that I have screenshot. So I'm going to share now some of the inspirational quotes and stuff that I have screenshot. You become your best self when you work on things that people can't take away from you. Mindset, character, personality, transparency, communication. That's the real upgrade. Some of the best advice I've been given. Don't take criticism from people you would never go to for advice. And, somebody shared verse of the day, Galatians 6, verse 9, NIV. Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. And that is good advice. Even if you might not appreciate that I come from the Bible, it is good advice. It is good advice, period. I saved this because this says a lot in one post from Boomer. My God, you worthless Republican Congress members. He is grifting in plain sight. He is selling sponsorships of White House events. He seized the Kennedy Center. He's selling federal buildings. He's attacking institutions. He is defying court orders. He manipulated the market. He has weaponized the DOJ. He got rid of food safety. He got rid of disease control. He wants to destroy public lands. He wants to mine seabeds in international waters. He is extorting minerals from other nations. He gave an unelected oligarch access to government data. He has broken trust with our allies. He has weakened global confidence in America. Here's something you care about. His poll numbers are underwater every single issue with Republicans. It has been 200 days. America will not survive 4 years. Stand up, do something. And I feel his frustration. I wish I knew where this was heading, because as I often say, this is not sustainable. And if something is not done, and if something doesn't happen in a big way to change the trajectory of what is happening, then I just don't even feel like it's only about destroying America, but that will go first. But it's about destroying the entire world. It's about, people talk about the systems crumbling. I just really don't know. I don't know how we fix this. I don't know how we make this right. I just genuinely don't know. The only thing that I know how to do is to be the change that I want to see in the world, to be the light that I've always been, and to be even more so a light brighter than I've ever been, because I feel as though it is darker than it's ever been. That is why I'm trying to be a light brighter than I've ever been. So let me just repeat this quote. Never interfere with an enemy in the process of destroying himself. And let me just give you a little peek at this page I got here pulled up. I typed in sunflowers in my search in my Google Photos. That's because I wanted to see the sunflowers that I have taken photos of in the past, and I've grown in the past. And these are some of the things that came up when I typed in sunflower in the search. So that's a little peek I was just going to give. I'm just giving you a little peek right there. And I'm going to say to you now, blessings, peace and blessings, a lot of love, positive energy, and thank you for watching.